Well, hello everyone. My name is Dar Rath. I'm the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario, Canada. And each week I bring you a story that's written by an anonymous author, or it could be a famous author. Some of the stories are funny and some give you something to think about. And today's just a real funny story. It's written by a man by the name of Mickey Findley. I was invited to sing at an upcoming Robbie Burns banquet. How could I refuse? I felt proud and honored to be part of such a prestigious event. More than that, I felt blessed. But what to wear? A kilt was the obvious choice, but where would I find one in such a remote place as Mackenzie, BC, and on such short notice? I suddenly remembered Barbara, a talented seamstress that I'd met through a mutual friend. I held my breath as I dialed her number. A jaunty, honeyed voice answered, "Of course I can do that for you, my dear. I actually have some tartan material I've never used. Let's get you measured." Well, 2 weeks passed and I hadn't heard from my seamstress. The event was only a few days away. Had she forgotten? My pulse started racing as I picked up the phone. Will she be home? Does she have good news for me? "Oh, hello, dear. I'm so sorry I haven't been back in touch. I've been swamped." "Oh, no. I've nearly finished your kilt. Don't worry. It'll be done on time. I promise." Thankfully, Barbara was true to her word. It was the night of the banquet, and as usual, I had arrived ridiculously early. I'm not sure why. I suppose it helped me feel more in control of the unknown, but what it really did was give me more time to stew in needless anxiety. I found myself repeating the lyrics to the song over and over in my head as I fidgeted in my new itchy blue-green kilt while checking my watch. Smiling strangers draped in colorful Highland attire began to pour into the massive banquet hall. A silver-haired couple passed by my table as they gushed over how elegant it looked with its white linen, red plaid, and candles nestled in fresh greenery. I flinched as a shrill wailing sound blasted through the air. I whirled around to see the ceremonial haggis paraded in as feather-capped bagpipers led the procession. A hush settled over the crowd as the enormous platter was placed at the head table. After grace and a few honorary words for the host, we were served a hearty meal of haggis, neeps, and tatties. As I stared down at my food, I pondered the mystery of what I was eating. I decided it was probably best I didn't know. As coffee was being served, I awaited the host's signal to perform. He was a grinning, bearded man of considerable girth. His lilting Scottish accent made my heart flutter with nostalgia. Guessing that it was time for me to sing, my stomach flip-flopped as I watched him approach the microphone. "I would like to welcome a very special guest who's going to sing for us tonight. Let's give her a hearty round of applause." I returned his toothy grin as I rose from my seat. Suddenly heard a loud rip. I froze, confused, afraid to look. But the truth was undeniable. My kilt was lying on the floor in a heap around my ankles. I was standing in front of hundreds of people in my underwear. This couldn't be happening. My face felt hot. I couldn't think. There was no getting out of this and nowhere to hide. I swallowed what little pride I had left and reached down to retrieve my clothing and my dignity, wrapped the skirt around my waist, and made my way up to the stage, as if walking to my execution. I could hear a few muffled giggles coming from somewhere behind. Never mind. Keep walking. I stared out at a sea of wide-eyed faces as I clicked on the microphone. Except for the occasional snicker, there was a chilling silence which only made the seconds feel like hours. Suddenly I heard myself. Well, my goodness, Apparently I've lost weight. I guess I should have eaten more haggis. Well, that did it. The room erupted with laughter, and I laughed too. What else could I do? I steadied myself, sucked in a deep breath, and opened my mouth to sing. Why do I choose such a solemn song, she thought. After my final note, I stepped back from the mic and waited. The audience started to clap. Someone stood up. 2 more people stood up. 6 more. Suddenly everyone was on their feet, cheering and clapping furiously. After my involuntary strip tease, a standing ovation was not what I expected. I could feel a tear forming, but I pushed it back. I'd had enough embarrassment for one night. So how did this happen? Well, it turned out that in her haste to finish my kilt on time, Barbara decided to use Velcro, causing my kilt to snag on the corner of the chair and fly open. Her face looked pale as I told her my news. She sputtered out one apology after another, refusing to accept payment for her work. After several days of reliving my humiliation, it occurred to me that I should look at this from a more positive perspective. Although it revealed things that I didn't want others to see, and then some, it also revealed things I needed to see. I'm able to laugh at myself. I possess more courage than I realized, and I can't control the unknown. So I decided it was time to toss my shame aside like a discarded kilt. There's a funny story for you. Thanks so much for taking 5, and blessings on your day.